I'll never forget. There was this guy, and I talk about it in the book. It was one of the first times I felt real again almost. And I'd helped this guy, and he didn't know who I was. He didn't know me for what I'd done. He didn't know my name. I was just a guy in a uniform and there when he needed help. And he thanked me and was so appreciative. And I was like, that feels good. That feels good. He didn't have any assumption of who I was or how I was, you know what I mean? That guy just needed that moment, and I could be there for him. And it shows me that I still got it. You know? Because, you get off and how long do you get out of the military? We've talked about this. How long do you get out of the military and you can still walk around with this, I'm a warrior, but you haven't even had to get in the ring? How long does that credibility still give you, I'm a warrior today? Not I was a warrior, but I am a warrior. How long do you get that credibility without getting in the ring? You know?
Mm-hmm.
And that's always a struggle. That's always a struggle is, do I still have it? Could I still do it? Could I still perform at that level? Because at the day you can't, you have to say I was a warrior. You know?
Mm-hmm.
And it's you have to be tested. And that's the one thing, you talk David Goggins, that guy, he tests himself all the time. He's always pushing it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's that's the struggle is could I still the further I get away from that day in Afghanistan, I question myself all the time of, how could I have done that day? But today I can't even, get myself to have enough discipline to go work out. What happened to me? Do you know?
So when you get done, how long did it take for the damn ceremonies and the round of interview? I remember you and I were talking on the phone. I forget when, but you were talking about you were on 60 Minutes, you were on all the freaking Letterman, you did everything.
Yeah.
How long did that last for?
I was it was really crazy all the way up to, I got it in September 15th of 2011. Through December, it was crazy. I was on The View, 60 Minutes, CBS Sunday Morning, Fox all the time. I was on, obviously Letterman, Jay Leno. You go
just
down
everything.
You down the list, and it was crazy. It was crazy, and it's still speeches kept going. You still walk out places and people recognize you, and everybody's coming at you and wanting you and this and that, and it took me I hated it. When I hear people say, "Hey, I met you back but anytime," I'm like, "When did you meet me?" If it was between 2011 and 2014, I apologize. First thing I say is, I'm sorry. I was drunk the whole time. I hated it. I hated it. There would be times that so I had a whole team around me. The Marine Corps sent, right after they announced I was getting the medal, the Marine Corps sent out 7 people to live with me 24/7.
What were they? What were they doing?
I had a security guy that stayed in my house. He stayed with. I wasn't anywhere by myself for probably 90 days at least, 120 days, and a guy lived with me. They sent in there were PR people, PAO people. There was 3 of them.
And you're 23 years old.
23 years old. I was tying steel. There's interviews. You go on the internet and there's interviews. So they sent divots out, right? So the DOD, the Marine Corps, combat camera people, capturing this. There are images of I refuse. I'm no, it's not changing my life. And I'm literally on a skid steer, working under a skid steer, and they're interviewing me because they had to get something, and I would not stop. I'm no, you can follow me, but that's it. So they would get up and follow me to go work at yards and stuff all day long. But yeah, so I had all that, and it was just my whole life changed, and then it like everything was good. It's like they built me up. Like I couldn't do anything wrong. And it's like when they got you to the top of the mountain, it was like the piñata they raise up. And then it was just like, here came the media just as soon as you said something wrong. Or, I mean, they were just, it's the gotchas. And it was like they just build you up to just try to smash you down, right? And there was always this one reporter who was there that just always wanted to take me to task. So it's like you take these beatings, right? And like it does, like people are like, oh, who cares? Who cares what they say about you? Well, there's only one thing I've got in this life, and that's my name and reputation. That's the only, like when I die on my tombstone, it's not going to have any of my awards. It's not going to have anything but the day I was born and the day I died, and it's going to say Meyer at the top of it. And that's what people are going to know. That's my brand. And so I took it serious. Like when I would come home, and I remember I landed one night, and I landed real late in Louisville, and I was driving home, and the Courier-Journal had released on the front page across the state, because I remember I pulled into this gas station in my hometown, and it was across the state, and it was Medal of Dishonor with my page on the front page of the state paper, right? And they were trying to discredit everything that I'd done. And it was so bad that like my friends got up, like they found out about it, and they got up and they went and bought all the papers out in town. And it was just always something, man. And it's just like you just can't, there's no rhyme or reason to it, you know? And it's just yeah, I mean, you get isolated. So I get what that guy said, you know, what that guy did. Because, I mean, sometimes you just, you know, what, if I can't help people and make a difference, what am I doing? What are you doing?
So you say the hype train lasted from September to December. I mean, at some point, does all of a sudden those 7 Marines that were there watching your every move, all of a sudden, like their duty's over? Mm-hmm. We got Meyer done with whatever he needed to get done.
Yeah.
And then, like, one day you wake up and, like, you're alone.
Yeah, so we were supposed to go to, so we did East Coast, West Coast, and we're supposed to do a Hawaii tour. So it's like we were like a weekend in New York, and then a week in California, and then we were supposed to go to Hawaii for like a week to do press and all this, right? See the bases and do the press on each coast. And we went to New York, did that. So like I got the medal, came home, and then the week after that, this is when all this started. And by the time I hit California, I'm like, I'm out. Like I on the plane to California, from New York to California, I said, I'm out. I can't keep doing this. And so that was it. Like they all.
What was it that made you feel you're like, did the people just constantly talking to you? I mean, was it just you feel like you're put up on a pedestal? And we talked about this the first time you were on here. I mean, basically everyone's saying, hey, good job.
I mean, you got to take this. Like, I am literally known for the biggest failure of my life. Like, you can't change the narrative to, like that's where people get wrong, is they're like, well, like they justify stuff in their head. The facts are this. Like, you can't change the facts. All my team is dead. Like, I didn't get them out. Whether it was rational or not, somebody can say, I'm going to do 10,000 push-ups today, and they're trying to break a Guinness Book of World Record. Nobody looks at him and says, well, you did 500 an hour. That's good enough. They failed. I failed. My teammates are dead. Their families has unanswered questions. There's 4 kids that'll never see their dad. And I'm getting paraded around the nation as a hero. And it's like I look at all these other all the other Medal of Honor guys, and I'm away from them because, you know, look, Kyle Carpenter, I couldn't imagine what that kid gone through. Like, you talk about a guy that's a warrior. That kid's a warrior. I don't have anything like that. And But I tell these guys that, like, you guys did some badass stuff. You guys did badass stuff. And you got some guys to enjoy it with. I come home, I ain't got anybody. And it's literally the biggest failure of my life. Now, with that, I've learned a lot. But I can't change the narrative because it doesn't feel good.
And you started feeling this way while you're flying from New York to California.
Well, I told the president that I couldn't accept the medal. I wanted him to break it down to a Navy Cross. I told him I couldn't accept the medal because, like, he said, you're a hero. I'll never forget. President Obama told me that I was a hero. And I said, if you think I'm such a hero, why don't you call my teammates up and get their opinion? Go let them know I'm a hero. And I'm not. And that's why when these people are, like, trying to discredit, or they're trying to say, oh, you know, whatever, I mean, I can't argue with them. Like, you talk about getting my ass kicked. Like, I got a Medal of Honor for getting my ass kicked. And so I couldn't keep living this in the media of, like, it was a hard thing. Like, I just wasn't there yet, right? Now, I don't do it about me. I do it about my teammates, right? Like, I do it to try to show these lessons of, if, hey, you know, I come to this point to where I wasn't going to change it. I wasn't going to be able to get away from it. You know, it was like, and so how do I use it to make a difference? How do I try to turn something so terrible into something good? And that's what I ended up having to do. But yeah, I got off, like, on the plane it was on the plane to LA. It was on the plane from New York to LA. And I remember looking at the girl who was running all my stuff. She's a rock star. You talk about a girl who, she is a rock star. And I said, we're done. We're done. We'll finish these interviews here, but we're not going to Hawaii. And I'm going home. And landed. We did the stuff we had to do in LA. I flew home from there. And then, I was still doing events and still doing what people wanted me to. I had a scholarship fund with the Marine Corps Scholarship Foundation. I had this challenge to America where we would raise $1 million to put kids through college. So, like, I was going out speaking at events for that, to, like, going to private dinners, to where somebody would write a huge check to the Scholarship Foundation. So I was doing that. And then, yeah, no, I didn't have nobody taught me what I should do, what I shouldn't do. You know, it was like 23 years old, just thrown to this machine that, I didn't even have an Instagram at the time, right? Like, I didn't know what to do. And so, yeah, I did that. I was on I did speaking with leading authorities. Wrote my book with Bing West in 2012. And, you know, like, speeches kept going, and, like, events and things like that. And, but just kind of going with the flow of what's next, right? And, yeah, I did some.
Well, was the Marine Corps, when you said, hey, look, I'm not going to Hawaii, I'm done, was the Marine Corps thinking, or did anybody say, okay, hey, maybe we need to give Dakota some, like, help to get through this, because he's got a massive amount of guilt over what happened? Did anybody talk to you along those lines at all?
So the Marine Corps didn't know what to do either, right? Like, I was the first living Marine since Vietnam to receive the Medal of Honor. So they weren't really schooled up on it either. And there was one mistake that they made, and from the beginning, is, and they tried to put it together, but when they put the narrative together, this is what opened us up to the media, to the guy who actually was the reporter that was actually the one that just was trying to discredit everything. And this was his heart. This was a piece he honed on. But, like, in the first initial write-up they had to do, right, they put numbers in of how many people were rescued, or say whatever you want to call it, and how many people I killed, which opened it up to numbers.
Mm-hmm. Which A, doesn't matter, and B, opens it up, right? Because it doesn't really matter. Yeah. Did you kill 28 people or 72 people or 172 people? It's like, it doesn't really matter. Wait.
And
did you save Because you can get a Medal of Honor for saving one person. You can get a Medal of Honor for killing one person.
Yeah.
You can get a Medal of Honor for saving 100 or killing 100. That's not what it's about.
Yeah.
But if they open it up for that, all of a sudden they make it matter.
And that was where it messed up. And I think the negative stuff started coming out, and that was where. But like the reporter even says in his article, there's an article out there about it. Like, well, there's quite a few, but he even states, he goes, he states all these things, these discrepancies, but he goes, I'm not saying he doesn't deserve it.
I actually read that article yesterday.
Yeah.
He says something along the lines of, not that these actions alone don't fully warrant the Medal of Honor.
Yeah.
So what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
God.
So it's those things that, like, you know, a guy like me, and like you've had to talk me down. A guy like me, all I've known my whole life, like there's only one thing I'm good at, and it's fighting. It's all I know. Like it's all I know. You know what I mean? Like, it's the only thing that's made me successful at anything, is that I was willing to fight and I was willing to work. And you put those things in a spot where there's people who are poking, it's not a good thing, right? And so, like, I had to back up, get myself together. I was drinking too much. Like, I was just trying to deal with all of it. I mean, imagine walking into a room and everybody wants to talk to you about the worst day of your life. Like, over and over and over. And it's like, you don't have to. It's not about going home and not dreaming about it. It's about, I'm walking into rooms and I'm sitting here literally reliving it over and over and over, which is okay. But I just think that, like, sometimes the worst day of my life is somebody else's entertainment.
I wish I would have pulled this quote. Major Whittlesey, he was at like a dinner and spoke at the dinner. He sits down with his friends, and the friends were talking, and they said something along the lines of, he said exactly what you just said. Exactly what you just said. He said something along the lines of, every time I talk about this, I go right back there, and I can't get away from it.
Yeah. Yeah, like, yeah. I mean, look, I still today, I miss my guys. I mean, you know, I just seen that one of my teammates, his daughter's, she's about to have a baby. And, it's crazy. You know what I mean? It's like, I get to sit here and enjoy my two beautiful daughters, who are more than I ever deserve. I get to hang around such amazing people, and I get to live a beautiful life and all these things. And, it's not a fair world, It's not. And that was always the thing, a struggle for me to deal with. And, and how do you give back? How do you continue to give back, right? Like, what? Look, I mean, how do you get back, right? So like the Marine Corps left, they went on their own way. Honestly, they kind of separated from me. I didn't hear much from them again. Probably 2.5 years. I didn't hear much from them.
It was like mission complete for them.
It was like, hey, let's separate from this, because I don't know if this thing's going to be a hand grenade or, what's going to happen.